Hello everyone, welcome to another session of Spiritual Saturday Book Club. I'm Pastor Niral, and today we're going to be continuing on with Gurus for Higher Enlightenment for Sale. Now, just a quick overview of this book. This book is a kind of a summary of a teaching that His Eminence Tsem Rinpoche gave many years ago, which was a 3-day teaching. So the full teaching is over 100 hours of footage, and the entire teaching is available on YouTube if you would like to go and watch that. After Rinpoche gave the teaching, Rinpoche wanted a book produced, so some of the teaching was condensed down and made into this book. Now, this book, when it came out, was a little controversial because it talks about subjects that aren't usually spoken about within Dharma centers. And that is, one, the relationship with the Guru, and not just from the Dharmic aspect of it, from the traditional scriptural aspect of it, but from a nitty-gritty day-to-day life aspect of it. And that covers the first third of the book. The second third of the book is actually covered by Rinpoche giving advice and teachings about Dharma centers, about how we should work in a Dharma center, how we should behave in a Dharma center, and how a Dharma center actually leads one to progress in one's spiritual journey, but also the pitfalls that people can find themselves falling into in a Dharma center in terms of how they think. Because we all come about things with our own preconceived notions, our own ideas of how things should be. And when these don't match our expectations, we get dissatisfied, we get disillusioned, and ultimately we end up leaving either the Dharma center or the Dharma altogether. So this part of the book not only talks about that, but it also gives quite practical information about how a Dharma center should be run. And I think this is something that everyone out there should know and should actually be aware of, because even if you're just going to a Dharma center to attend an activity, you should actually know what goes on behind the scenes of a Dharma center. So it gives you a more broader understanding and perspective of what a Dharma center is. The last third of the book deals with a bit about our own spiritual practice, but Rinpoche in the book doesn't delve too much into that because Rinpoche has given extensive teachings on that before. So let me just check who's online today. Kelvin Tan, good morning to you. Almost good afternoon. Alice is online. Sukfan, Hannah Fu, Jerry Go. You're all very regulars, and thank you for joining today's session. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started into it because most of you are regulars here. So we're going to start on page 165. Okay, the section is Centers with High-Ranking and Well-Known Gurus. A sign of eminence, a sign of greatness, is not competitiveness or jealousy, but rejoicing in other people's well-being and growth. This is a very good comment. Dharma centers that are under the patronage or the spiritual guidance of a Rinpoche or a renowned Guru or Master definitely pull more weight than a center that is under a teacher who is not as well known. We must realize that even the Gurus who are well known were not well known at one time, and the Gurus who are not famous now may become famous at another time. Actually, there is no difference. But within the normal worldly perceptions, we tend to think that a center must be doing something right if the Guru has a big name, many books under his name, a great publicist, a high title, and a wealthy estate with a lot of sponsors. Some Gurus choose to be very humble, simple, and not grow big. For example, there is a great master, Jangse Geshe Yeshe of Gandan Jangse Monastery, who has been repeatedly requested to submit his name under the candidacy for the abbot of the monastery, and he has repeatedly turned it down. If his name is sent to His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, I believe without being presumptuous, that His Holiness would definitely choose him. But he repeatedly says no. Although he says no, they put him on a very big throne when he attends pujas and ceremonies in the monastery. Just because some centers have these elite, well-known gurus, it does not necessarily mean their gurus are better than the gurus who are not well-known. The quality of a guru is not reflected in his status, rank, or position. The ranking of a guru is determined by hierarchy according to the monastic system. However, a guru's attainments cannot be judged by a monastic system at all. There are some very famous and well-known gurus, geshes and rinpoches out there who have many, many centers. But if they go to the monasteries, they actually do not have a throne or any special seating. It does not mean they are bad. Within the monastic system, it simply means that they have been working out more outside the monastery, so they have not reached a high hierarchical position gained from working within the monastery. People realize this in Tibet, where there are gurus with no rank or position that everybody flocks to see. Gen Nyima Rinpoche, who I had the great fortune to meet and befriend in Ganden Monastery, had no rank. If you put him into Ganden's prayer hall, he would have no throne. He would just have an ordinary, normal cushion with every other monk. It does not mean he was not spiritually attained. Monks and lay people from all over Mundgod, which is where Ganden Monastery is now located, flock to see him all the time. However, there are people in other countries who, when they have high-ranking gurus, teachers or rinpoches in their center, use that to press down other centers, to validate their center and practice as good. They sometimes try to take members, influence members, and steal members by saying, "Our guru is so-and-so. Our guru has this many centers. Our guru has very well-known students. Our guru travels to so many countries a year. Our guru is good, so come to our center." What they do not understand is that maybe 10 years ago, nobody had even heard of their guru. Actually, when they do that, they are the worst reflection of their high-ranking guru and his lineage. If their guru is high-ranking, we would assume that he must also be highly attained. It is not necessarily so, but we would assume that. If their guru is highly attained, then he would advise the students not to do things like that. Those of us who hear those things may wonder if the guru really is like that, or if those people are really sincere. The guru may be good, but we wonder why his students practice and behave like that. If we cannot think any deeper or higher, we will be attracted to that name, position, and status. We will not be attracted to the Dharma practice. Then it is not a Dharma practice, and we are not going there for Dharma. We are going there for the reputation we have heard people talk about, for the famous people, the big center, and the big people. The people who are under the patronage of and have the luck and merit to be under a high guru must be even humbler, kinder, more down to earth and diligent in their practice. Their behavior should be very ethical. They have an extraordinary special responsibility to be even more committed, to have very strong guru devotion, and to be very, very nice to everybody else. That would reflect the high status of their guru. If they do not do that, it will not reflect his greatness. A great person is not petty. A great person is not focused on minor issues. A great person is focused on big issues. We must think, if our guru is His Holiness so-and-so, and we run around putting down other gurus, criticizing their lineage, practice, and traditions, did our guru teach us that? If our guru taught us that, is our guru high? If our Guru did not teach us to do that, but we are doing it anyway, are we making our Guru look high? Is talking and acting like that the result of hanging around our high Guru? People who belong to high-ranking Gurus must be very, very careful and aware in their practice because they love their Guru. They have Guru devotion and they have faith. That is how I think it should be. Members and students in the Dharma centers of high, well-known, famous Gurus also have a special responsibility to be more encouraging to other centers. If their Guru is very eminent and well-known, it is very easy for them to get sponsors, centers, members, assistants, and resources. So why do they need to squash another center that may not have a Guru, well-known or not, to guide them? Instead of being greedy and taking everybody else's members, they should encourage other centers' activities and growth. A sign of eminence and greatness is not competitiveness or jealousy, but rejoicing in other people's well-being and growth. Because they are doing so well and because they are kind, these centers under a high, famous Guru should be the ones to encourage people in their Guru. They should be the ones giving donations to encourage other people's centers to grow and to give discounts to members and students of other centers. The extension of their kindness is to help other centers and their members and to encourage them. The smaller centers or centers that do not have high-ranking, well-known Gurus will find it difficult to get sponsorship, members, and people because they do not have anything to attract these things yet. They do not have the resources to get their books everywhere or to distribute flyers and advertisements. They do not have resources to make their center big. They do not have beautiful statues or even a place to house a lot of people. It does not mean their Gurus are not good. The responsibility will fall more on the well-known Guru's students and centers to help everybody else and not to suppress other centers, other sects, or lineages. And I have seen Kin Ho and Yiman is also online. Welcome and thank you for joining. So the section that I just read out was all about Gurus and high-ranking Gurus and how people should be in a Dharma center that have high-ranking Gurus, or even if you don't have a high-ranking Guru, how you should act and behave in a Dharma center. And this reminds me very much of how Rinpoche lived, how Tsem Rinpoche lived. Everything in this book, by the way, is not something that is from a person who's just telling you and then not doing it. Rinpoche did actually, I saw with my own eyes, Rinpoche doing all of this. And one of the things I saw Rinpoche doing was actually helping other centers. Things like this weren't advertised anywhere because Rinpoche didn't want to boast. He wasn't doing it for fame or glory or something like that. He was actually doing it because Rinpoche genuinely wanted to help the Dharma centers. Because any Dharma center you go to will be teaching some form of the Dharma. So over the years that I was with Rinpoche, I was able to see him and see his actions. And one of the things that Rinpoche did was actually to sponsor statues, books, teachings in other Dharma centers. So obviously, because we belong to Shalganden Monastery, Rinpoche would often sponsor teachings in Shalganden Monastery to ensure that the Dharma continued and didn't die out. There was one time that Rinpoche sponsored an entire series of initiations in Shalganden Monastery because those practices were quite rare. And Rinpoche didn't want the lineages of those practices to actually die out. So Rinpoche sponsored those teachings and those initiations. Coupled with that, I've actually seen Rinpoche sponsor centers not only in Malaysia, but all over the world. And Rinpoche has sponsored statues, Rinpoche has sponsored books, Rinpoche Dharma books, Rinpoche has sponsored robes for the Sangha, teachings in other Dharma centers, you name it, Rinpoche's done it. And even sometimes we would get requests from other Dharma centers if we could help support them. And after doing research, if Rinpoche found that that Dharma center was a genuine Dharma center, Rinpoche would really go all the way out to provide them for what they asked for. And Rinpoche did all of this without advertising in any way. I mean, we didn't advertise it on the blog. We didn't even talk about it on the blog. Rinpoche said, no need to talk about it. It's our Dharma responsibility, it's our Dharma work to make sure that other people get the Dharma, so we would just do the work. So whatever it entailed, Rinpoche got it done. And that was one of the amazing things about Rinpoche. He did things without need or want of anything in return. And it was constantly Rinpoche was giving gifts or helping other Dharma centers. It was very, and it wasn't a one-off thing, it was very regular. Rinpoche did it a lot. Jillian is online. Hello, good morning to you. Thank you for joining the session today. I hope everybody is well. If you're in KL, please stay safe with the CMCO. I hope everybody's doing okay there. If you do have any questions, please ask. Not just about the sections that we'll be reading today, but any Dharma question, and I'll be happy to answer. So the next section, which is a very good one, the next two sections are quite good. The first one is called center bashing. If we generate compassion to hungry ghosts, but we're mean to people, isn't there some kind of contradiction? The phenomena of center bashing. Sometimes, when one center is doing good things, such as attracting many people and students and having lots of activities and events, students from another center can feel jealous, threatened, uncomfortable, and they will center bash. They will try to increase the number of their centers and membership at the cost of another center's membership, and they do not care about the consequences. They will go to other centers and say they are practicing bad things. Their guru is evil, a fake, and has no basis. They will say all kinds of nasty things at the expense of one center. They do not realize that they are creating extreme disharmony. It is very bad, but there is a trend of centers doing that. Increasing membership in one center at the expense of other centers is the biggest problem suffered by centers in the world now. It is dangerous and it is very detrimental. It is self-destructive. I have seen in both the West and the East centers that criticize other centers, their ceremonies, their rituals, and their traditions. They dare even criticize the gurus. For example, a group of people may be doing something for a particular center. Instead of rejoicing for those people and their center, another center immediately targets them and says, "Hey, come to our center, we have so-and-so. We have this, we have that. We are doing this, and we are doing that." They never encourage people towards their own centers or towards their own gurus. Some centers are sometimes economically forced or pressured to do that. They want to impress their gurus or their members and students, or they are losing students and they want to keep them. Centers are in competition to get members. They need to pay their bills. They need to prove their lineage is good. Some people in these centers have a small identity crisis or an inferiority complex. If fewer people practice what they practice, they feel that they may be on the wrong path because they do not have confidence in themselves. They need to make the group bigger, advertise and talk more to prove that they are on the right path. Numbers mean authenticity to them. They have many sociological pressures to make them do things like this. They do not want to, but they are forced to because they do not know enough Dharma, or they have not practiced enough Dharma to control themselves. Fanatical Buddhism, when they put everybody down and increase their center at the expense of another center, is very bad. Get your own members. You go stand on the street, talk to everybody and pass out "you will be saved" flyers. Why do you not want to put effort into nurturing new students? Why is it that another center nurtures them, takes care of them, teaches them everything, and you just snatch them away by saying something evil? Some people then join those centers out of fear, through lies, coercion, and manipulation, or through the center's members' negative motivation to defame their practice, their guru, and their lineage. Okay. I've got a question from Iman I've just seen. Hi, Pastor Niral. May I know what is Rinpoche's main wish for Kechara Center and its members? Iman, can you elaborate a little bit further? What do you mean by main wish? Do you mean what Rinpoche wants them to do? What our future plan is? What, how we should practice? Please elucidate a little bit more, and then I'll definitely answer your question. All right? How? What do you mean by main wish? Okay? The damage. It is a heinous crime for one center to put another center down in order to get membership. Centers should never criticize another center, even if we think that the center is not good at all. Societies, organizations, and all this should not be set up to judge gurus, centers, students, and practices. No one has that authority. Within the tradition of Tibetan Buddhism, one head of a religious school has no authority over another. His Holiness Ganden Tripa Rinpoche has no say over the other three schools of Buddhism. The other three schools of Buddhism have no say over each other. If these great enlightened beings have no say over the other schools, how can anybody, anywhere else, anywhere in the world, have any say over any lineage or practice? How can lay people who have not studied and practiced have that authority to say anything about the Sangha, practices or lineages that have been existent for hundreds and thousands of years? They are not even learned monks or Sangha, and yet they want to control and protect, when it is actually a guise to be politically correct to get members. A head of state disparaging another head of state is very bad. That is not decorum or good manners. That is not diplomatic, and that is not the way to win people over. If one head of state criticizing another is bad, one spiritual teacher criticizing another is also very bad. It will look like jealousy and competition. If the spiritual teacher has jealousy and is competitive, is that being spiritual? If they have fanatical, crazy students running around carrying out this unspiritual attitude, it will not make the Dharma grow. One should never, ever criticize another center, another guru, another lineage, or another tradition. The minute another so-called Dharma student tells us that that lineage or that guru is bad, that we went to the wrong place, or that we are doing the wrong practice, we should regard them as very dangerous people. Let's say hypothetically that our guru is bad, but the person who tells us the guru is bad actually destroys his own and our own spiritual evolution. I am sorry to say that any Dharma center who would stoop to such low levels to criticize another person's guru, lineage and practice to get members will not gain any attainments from their practice. There will be no attainments unless there is something contradictory in the Buddha's teachings. These people might go to another center to get people for their center, but once they destroy a person's faith, confidence and loyalty, what kind of person does that turn out to be? Even if they manage to convince people to join them, do they even want these kinds of people? Even if they manage to convince people to join them, do they even want these kinds of people who are so light-eared in their center? Anybody who would resort to that level of saying negative things to bring us to their center will destroy us and make us look stupid. They destroy themselves, and they are a bad representation of the Buddha, Dharma, their guru, and their lineage. It reflects on a person, and sometimes, without wanting to, it also reflects their guru. Do we want to reflect our guru that way while putting down other people, their lineage, their practice, and what they are doing? When we make people lose faith in the guru that they have taken refuge with or who they believe in, it is equivalent to sending them and ourselves to hell. Isn't guru devotion the top of the list? Guru devotion is not criticizing another center so that they come to our center and our center grows. Guru devotion that is guru destruction, because that is the face we show other people. We show others that that is what our guru has taught us. Our gurus did not teach us that, and we have misinterpreted his teachings if we do those things. If the guru is genuine, he will never teach his students to disparage another center, lineage, or teacher. We are supposed to be nice to spirits and to generate compassion to hungry ghosts. If we generate compassion to hungry ghosts, but we are mean to people, isn't there a contradiction? There are enough outer enemies. We make inner enemies by our ignorance, greed, desire, and passions. That is why people steal members from other centers to their own center. But is that how Buddhists act? Is that how people who have taken refuge act? To disparage another center, to put down another guru, practice, and another lineage due to rumors, hearsay, personal likes and dislikes? How to handle it? If someone is saying things to us about our center or our guru, we need to check their motivation. Do they help our center? Do they donate to our center? Do they become close and try to share in our activities? Do we celebrate together? Do we combine prayers? Do we share? If they do that and then advise us, there may be a chance that their motivation is good. But if they know nothing about our center, do not contribute or get involved in the activities, yet start to criticize our practice, lineage and guru, they definitely have an ulterior motive. If anybody says to us, your Dharma center is not good, your Dharma center is not valid, your guru is not good, we should run away immediately. We should not even talk. We should not even try unless we are advanced in Dharma and we can debate. If we cannot, their talk will influence our minds. We should stop criticism and not increase it or listen to it. If we are in a position where we are able to convince them and not have them convince us, then we can begin to talk. If we know we cannot talk, then we should not listen. Do not stoop to their level and do not encourage them to do what they are doing. The minute someone tells us that our guru is bad and our lineage is bad and we listen to the rumors, then firstly we are flippant, very light-eared, silly person who is not able to use logic or who does not have any logic. And secondly, these people who said that to us, those people who said that to us are not nice people and not spiritual aspirants. Spiritual aspirants do not talk like that. If we can listen to rumors about the guru, have doubts and run away at the drop of a hat, we will do that everywhere we go with everything all the time. It shows us clearly that our spiritual endeavor was not really a spiritual endeavor. It was more like going to a movie and seeing what it is about or trying a new restaurant. We are definitely not spiritual if we can give up things at the drop of a hat like that. We should say to people from other centers, what we should say to people from other centers is something like, "You've started studying Dharma. I rejoice. If there are any books or anything you need, let me know. What guru are you studying with? You're studying with X Rinpoche? I rejoice. I'm so happy. Please go to your center. Please be loyal. Please follow your guru and practice Dharma. Do retreats. You'll get a lot of benefit." When we talk to other people like that, we will respect their center. We will respect their students. We will respect their guru. We will respect their lineage. That is what we are supposed to say. If these people really cared about other students from other centers, their centers, practice and well-being, they should say, "If your center needs help, statues or books, we will help to sponsor you." If they really cared about other students and their centers, and it was not for other motives, they would help these centers. They might question why they should help a center that is doing something wrong. But how do you know that they are doing something wrong? What right does one guru have to say another guru is wrong? Can ordinary people judge and tell? Wouldn't it be better to respect all gurus? Let me make one logical point. In big cities anywhere in the world, we do not need to steal and kidnap Dharma students from another Dharma center. The more centers there are in one place in the world, the better it will be because there are plenty of people to go around. Malaysia, for example, has 27 million people. Kuala Lumpur has about 1.5 million people. If we had 10 Dharma centers, each one would take about 150,000 people. So if we take 150,000 people into our center, make them sit on the roof or outside in the parking lot, set up tents outside, and put speakers up all over the place, 150,000 people are more than enough. Why should we have everybody else? Share. Let everybody go around. Why should everybody be attracted to just one center? Some people may walk into a center and not like it because it is not their lineage or their practice. Some people may have followed the same traditions in their previous lives, so they have greater affinity. Others might not have that affinity. Either way is okay. We should not be offended if other people do not like our guru or our center. Everybody has their own affinity. What's the big deal? If there's no big deal, there is no big deal at all. When I went to India and Nepal, I used to go to many centers that belonged to different gurus because I took initiations and practices from those gurus. When I went, but I did not talk about this and that at all. I just went there and quietly followed what they did there. It was not because I was restricted or scared. There was simply nothing to talk about. A real spiritual teacher or one aspiring to be one will not criticize another spiritual teacher and will not put another Dharma center down. If we hear a person putting our center or any center down, we should immediately advise them, "Please show a good reflection of your teacher. Don't do that." In my Dharma center, I disparage people who criticize other lineages, gurus and centers. I stop them immediately. I cut down and stamp down on sectarianism. I have never at any time taught any of my friends or students anything about politics. I have never ever told anyone in our center or in any place to take sides or to criticize another side. I have always critically and openly given my students both sides of the coin, explained things to them and let them decide for themselves. I ran away and slept on the streets for Dharma. I would not, at this age and level, sink myself to this low level of playing politics for Dharma, the thing that I treasure and love the most. If I could give up everything in the United States, my worldly dreams and aspirations, because of my promise to my Guru, His Holiness Tsem Rinpoche, I would surely not give up my promise to him to practice and to keep my spiritual commitments. That is what I expect of my spiritual friends and students, to be loyal to their Guru and the practices he has given them, not to criticize others, to be non-political. Just practice. That is what I expect from my people. If they do not follow that, I will come down very harshly. If people hear things and they have so much doubt, and they still do not believe me after I talk to them, I just tell them to go. If they are like that now, they are going to be like that all the time. They are just a disruption to themselves and the people around them. I do not care if they are rich or poor, or if we depend on them. I am not saying this to be mean. I am saying we should be straightforward, and we have to have principles. There are some things we have to stand up for, which is our spiritual enlightenment. The important thing is that whatever center we are at, we should put our energy into that center to make it grow, not dispel or disperse the energy. Our allegiance should be to our Guru who is teaching us the Dharma, to the Dharma, the center, and to the Dharma students and staff working in the center. I am not trying to start some kind of warfare here. That is the truth. If someone says something about our parents, whether it is right or wrong, our allegiance is to our parents because they are so kind to us. Similarly, our allegiance should be to the people who run the center, who give time, resources, energy, help, work, and effort to the center for many years. Without them, there would be no center. Okay, Iman clarified. Sorry, Pastor Niral, I'm referring to the direction of the center going forward and what the members should do or achieve based on Rinpoche's wish or aspiration. Okay, that's a very good question. Now, before I answer that, I've got, there's a question by Harlan Daru. Watching from Sabah, what book are you reading? Before I answer Iman's question, let me just quickly answer this another question. This is a book called Gurus for Higher Enlightenment for Sale. It is a book that was written by His Eminence Tsem Rinpoche, and it covers 3 topics. One is all about the Guru, and it's a modern explanation of how one should think and perceive your teacher, and how one should work with a spiritual teacher in a modern day environment. 2, it is also about the center and about the Dharma centers, which is the part that I'm on now. And the 3rd part is a little bit about personal practice, but because His Eminence has published many books about personal practice and has tsemrinpoche.com, which is Rinpoche's blog, which has thousands and thousands of teachings that you can look through, it's not included here in this. So I hope that helps. Okay. Iman. Okay. Rinpoche's wish and aspiration for the students, 1, was to continue what we have been doing all of this while, but actually ramp up our practice. One thing Rinpoche wanted is for people in the writers team to go out and to share more, which is what we've been doing with all of you, with myself, Pastor David, Pastor Chinai, even JP, on all of the live streamings that we've been doing. But also to learn more, to study more, from both sides of the pastors, the Dharma staff, but also students, people who attend the Dharma Center, is to learn more and study more. And the reason is because we need to put it into practice. And you're probably going to ask, what are we supposed to be learning? What are we supposed to be doing? What practices are we supposed to be doing? It's very simple. Rinpoche, everything on Rinpoche's blog. Rinpoche's blog is actually A to Z for your Dharma practice. And you're going to tell me, or people who have been around for a while are going to tell me, but I've already read that book. I have already watched that teaching. I've already read that article. But Rinpoche, the one thing Rinpoche would say was, but have you put it into practice? If you haven't put it into practice, then you need to read it again, read it again, read it again, make sure it goes in, and once it goes in, to actually practice it. And from there, build step by step on your practice. And one of the things that Rinpoche wanted everybody to learn and to practice is the Lam Rim. Okay. Coupled with that, Rinpoche did, within KFR, there's various projects that Rinpoche wanted to finish, to get done, new buildings, things like that. The phase 2, the Gompa at the front of the land, things like that, on a kind of a building level. But since Rinpoche has passed into parinirvana, the main responsibility of students is to actually create the causes and the merits for Rinpoche to return to us. So one of the things that needed to be done for that was the various stupas and the incarnation chapel. So that is well underway of being built, but we still have a very long way to go, and to get that up. And it is very, very complicated. It's already been a lot of hard work for some people, and it's going to be a lot more hard work to get that up. And that itself helps to create the causes for Rinpoche to return. Once that is done, obviously there will be a section of students probably assigned who will be in charge of trying to look for Rinpoche's incarnation. And at that time, after the chapel is built, one thing that we need to do is we need to actually engage in more practice. We need to do more retreats. We need to have more retreats in Kefar. We need to have more classes. We need to learn more, and we need to practice more. And that will lead us to higher trainings. And that itself creates merit that will bring Rinpoche back to us. Because Rinpoche's vision for KFR is to be a learning and practice institution. It's where you come to learn the Dharma, it's where you come to practice the Dharma, and where you come to have attainments. So that is the direction that we're going for. Iman, Pastor Niral, do you think that the size and number of Dharma Center are important for Dharma Center growth, or is there other matter which is more important to focus on? Did Rinpoche share his thought on this? It's very simple. If you're practicing the Dharma, your center will grow in the way that those in charge want the center. In the way that the Guru wants the Dharma center to grow. For example, we have Kefa. Rinpoche was sharing the Dharma, and especially with the Dharma students and the Dharma staff, and even in his books, online, Rinpoche is constantly reminding you to be a good person, to practice the Dharma, to put all of these things into practice. And it's because of that and Rinpoche's blessings, which carries the blessings of the lineage, that KFR has come up and what it is at the moment. And that Kechara is where it is at the moment. Many other Dharma centers, especially Tibetan Dharma centers in Malaysia, are not as big. I'm not saying as big in terms of land or buildings. I'm saying big in terms of activities. The Dharma activities that we do. We have pujas, we have classes, we have an art center, we have all sorts of things that we do, all sorts of small activities that not all Dharma centers do. And that is not because, yes, it's because we have a big land and buildings, but it's also because we have people. But how did those come about? Those came about because originally a small group of people started to practice the Dharma and to benefit from it. And that benefit spread to other people. So that benefit spreads naturally when you're practicing the Dharma. That is what leads to having a big Dharma center. But it depends on your Guru's wish, on how the Guru directs the students and what to do. For example, Rinpoche wanted to set up a learning and practice institution, which is what KFR is supposed to be. But there is another Guru that I know of that is very close to Rinpoche. he directed his students to go more in the line of doing puja. So if you go to their centers, it's just like rented houses, things like that. But they are constantly doing puja for people, for others, for the growth of the Dharma. It's just constantly doing pujas. And their ritual is very good, their altar setup is very good. It might not have a really, really big statue, but it's done perfectly. They make a lot of beautiful offerings. They do puja very, very well. That Dharma center, however, isn't big. In the sense that they don't have their own land, they don't have their own buildings, they don't have people, hundreds and thousands of people coming for their events or anything. It's just a few core people. Yet Rinpoche said that other center is successful. Why? Because the people there, the people in the center, are practicing the Dharma. So it doesn't matter how big a Dharma center is. What matters actually is how are people practicing. If they are practicing, and if the Guru thinks it's a good idea, then following the Guru's wishes and advices, the Dharma center will grow anyway. But however, if the Guru doesn't want the Dharma center to grow, the Dharma center will stay that same size, but will be very, very steady, very consistent, and the students will practice the Dharma a lot. So it depends. Those were Rinpoche's, not Rinpoche's exact words, but that was what Rinpoche had explained to us previously. I hope that helped. Okay, move on to the next section, which is Guru bashing. Okay? The whole respect for the three jewels is disintegrating due to politics. The phenomena of Guru bashing. In the past, Dharma was not really taught to lay people. It was always Sangha teaching the Sangha. Now there is a phenomena in Dharma centers where Dharma is being taught to lay people that just walk into the center looking for spiritual happiness and peace. However, these people listen to all kinds of words and politics, and they start criticizing and bashing other gurus, monks, and traditions. Nowadays, they are ordinary people running around criticizing other lineages. There are housewives, businessmen, and salesgirls who join a Dharma center, hear some rumor, and run around on a rampage, criticizing high gurus, reincarnated gurus, tulkus, and geshes. But they have not held their vows for even one day, and they will not even consider taking ordination vows. They have zero compassion. Their refuge vows are in tatters, and they do not know what the cause and effect theory is, which is karma. They have They have no knowledge or fear of karma and its effects. These are lay people that have been running around chasing money, fun, entertainment, position, and titles their whole lives. They come into Dharma for 1 or 2 years, and all of a sudden they think they are higher than every guru in Tibet. Lay people should show respect to the Sangha and not criticize the Sangha. Even members of the Sangha do not criticize other Sangha or the Gurus. There are lay people that do not know anything or know very little about the Dharma and do wooden, mechanical practices, and yet they criticize the people who have given up their worldly life many years ago, studied, practiced, and listened to thousands of hours of teachings, stayed in thousands of hours of retreat, and out of compassion are forced or requested to go to other countries to teach. The whole respect for the three jewels is disintegrating due to politics. If we criticize a guru or monks, we should remove the third refuge, Namo Sanghaya, from our recitations and prayers. Yes, not all Sangha members are the real refuge, who are Arya beings who are out of samsara, but they represent the Arya beings. There may be some Sangha members who do not show a good example, but there are more Sangha members who do show a good example. There are certainly more Sangha members that show a good example than lay people. The gurus are not above criticism, but certainly not from a lay person who has not studied any Dharma and knows nothing. The gurus are not above reproach. I am not above reproach, but I certainly will not accept reproach from about a Dharma doctrine from a person who has not studied, practiced, kept his commitments, taken vows, or done anything for himself or others. I will take it from my seniors, my elders and members of my community who I know have the authority, due to their many years of study and practice, to let me know the right thing. It is not a matter of pride. Can a student of biophysics criticize the professor and tell him his theory is wrong when he just entered the class today? Can he question as a matter of debate, conjecture, or learning? But he would say it with respect, in a way which indicates that he knows the professor is right, but that he is questioning to understand the theory better. There are also some people who like to align themselves with high, famous gurus, and they say they are connected with them in order to validate their greed, ego, or jealousy. They align themselves with these high gurus' views and thoughts, compare it to other gurus, and judge. They say, we're following His Holiness or His Eminence's sect or views, so we are good. Just because someone follows one view of that high eminent guru, it does not mean that he is following all the views. All high gurus tell us not to criticize, to scorn, hurt, or disparage other traditions and gurus. Why do they not listen to that? There are cases where people align their center with one view of a guru that is very high and put it on their bulletin board. When people come to their center and interrogate them, where are you from? Who is your guru? Who is your lineage? If they find them to be opposite of what their view is, they point to the signboard and say, you're not allowed in. Even spirits are allowed into Dharma centers to receive blessings from the guru. But some people are not allowed in because their view does not match what is on their bulletin board. Is that because they are trying to market and cash in on the high guru's name so that they can look good, holy, and better to get more members and sponsors for their center? These people align themselves to this or that guru not out of faith, love, and guru devotion. Their intention is to not help or benefit others. Their intention arises from politics, to get others to the center and to make the center grow in membership, money, and resources. If they followed everything the high guru had said, there would be Buddha, a Bodhisattva, a Mahasiddha, a very gentle, wonderful citizen of this world, emanating compassion. If they are going to align themselves with the high guru's name, they should not put up political statements. They should put up Dharma statements on their bulletin boards instead, such as the 8 verses of thought transformation or something which their high guru has taught. There are some people who are not fanatical and who do not criticize and say things against other gurus because of greed. They do it because everybody else does it, and they do not know any better. They are just following along. Their allegiance switches back and forth. When they hear one guru talk in one way, they think it makes sense and they go that way. When they hear another guru say something else, they go another way. These people accomplish nothing in their lives or in anything they do because they are not stable in their thought. They are not committed to anything, and they can never think on their own or take responsibility. If a center, a guru, or a group of people say, that group or that guru is wrong, then they, or their guru, also has the potential to be wrong. If we want to start going down that road to say, this guru is right, that guru is wrong, then we have to realize that our guru could therefore also be wrong, because who or what is to say which guru is right or wrong? The higher their thrones, the bigger their status, the greater their following, their name. What makes them higher? Their ladrang or household? The number of students they have. If we criticize our own guru and say our gurus are wrong, we could be wrong too. If we want to say another guru is wrong, then we could be wrong too. Then Buddhism is finished, because the outside world, which is much larger than the Buddhists, will question, well, who is right then? Then, what happens if these high gurus were to pass away? There are so many other gurus who are not as eminent, but who are still high, and who may start factional fighting. One will say that Guru X is wrong. Another will start quoting, he's right. He said he's wrong. That Rinpoche said they're right. That Rinpoche said they're wrong. They go back and forth. There will be no end, and soon people will say we do not need to practice Buddhism because we start questioning who's right and who's wrong. How do we even judge who's right and who's wrong, and on what basis? Someone of authority, power, and eminence and spiritual background has recognized and made this person a Rinpoche, Tulku, Geshe, or Dharma teacher. When we put that person down and we say he's doing a bad practice, we must think, how can that Rinpoche or Geshe do bad practice and still be a Rinpoche or a Geshe? Some people were recognized by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. When we criticize them, we also criticize the Dalai Lama. Some people are recognized by the abbots of the monasteries, so if we criticize them, does that mean the abbots of the monasteries are all wrong? Can the oracles that recognize these Rinpoches and Tulkus all be wrong? Can those people who have been practicing for years and who recognize these people always be wrong? If they are always wrong, then everything is wrong. Then there is no end to what is wrong. If this person is a so-called Rinpoche or a so-called teacher and he is doing bad practices that we do not agree with, that is just our view. We may like what some gurus do and do not like what other gurus do, but who are we to judge? When we think negative things, we train our mind to think negative things again about the next guru and the next one, then it does not end. We should not jump on the bandwagon. The minute we take sides with one group, no matter how holier than thou we think we are, we have already become political. Therefore, it is not Dharma. How to handle it? There are gurus out there who I would not take teachings from and whose practices I have issues about. But when their students come to me, I will never say one word about their gurus to them. The minute we make another person lose faith in his gurus, we are not practicing Dharma. If someone is saying things about his own guru, we should be very, very skillful with them and say, no, don't think like that about your guru. How has your guru helped you? What have they done for you? Think about the good things. Remember that they have benefited you somehow, and don't think of negative things. The minute another person tells us our guru is bad or wrong, our lineage is bad, our practices are wrong, our deities are bad, and our particular style is bad, we should run away. We should cut them off immediately and say very nicely, please don't criticize my guru. Please don't criticize my lineage. I choose and do what I want. You choose and do what you want. We will all get to enlightenment together. No matter what other gurus say about our guru, we need to be sure about our guru. People have many things to say about every one of us too. Who cares? We have to be confident about our guru. Does our guru benefit us? Does our teacher give us Dharma? Does our teacher care? Does our teacher have kindness? Do we learn from our teacher? Do we benefit from our teacher? If the answer is yes, then that is all there is. The end. We do not need to be concerned about anything else. I had people tell me that my guru, Geshe Tsultrim Gyaltsen, was like this or like that. I said, really? I hope he does more. They told me, Geshe-la likes women, you know. He likes the nun. I said, oh really? Which one? Do you think she's cute? I could not care less because I was sure about my guru. I am not a guru police to record what gurus can and cannot do. So I choose to keep quiet. I do not care what this top-ranking high Rinpoche says about this teacher or that teacher. I have eyes. I have ears. I have a brain that works. So I look, I listen, and I think. If I like it, I say thank you. If I do not like it, I say thank you. If they continue to them, I say, see, that plays... If they continue, I say to them, see that place, it sells kites. Buy one. Inferring, go fly a kite. There's a question from Iman. Pastor Niral, thanks for the explanation just now. One more question about taking refuge in the Sangha. Must the Sangha be a group of ordained nuns and monks only, or it includes the Dharma Center's members who are lay people? That's a very good question. The traditional definition of a Sangha is 4 or more fully ordained monks or nuns. Okay? Actually, there's 3 levels. You have the Arya Sangha. The Arya Sangha are beings who are outside of samsara. The beings who are practicing, who have reached outside of samsara, but who are not yet fully enlightened. For example, the bodhisattvas. People who are practicing and outside of samsara. The second level down, which is the usual definition, is that 4 or more fully ordained monks and nuns. But in some places, you don't have 4 or more fully ordained monks and nuns. So there is another level. And that level is basically those in your center that are practicing. If you have seniors, students, or senior students who are holding some form of vows, then those would be the ones that are the Sangha. And also people who, even lay people who are going to that Dharma center and practicing the Dharma, who have learnt some of the Dharma and who can share it with other people, those are the Sangha. Because the definition of the Sangha are those who have learned the Dharma, who are practicing the Dharma, and who can share the Dharma. Okay? Because you learn the Dharma from Sangha. So you are right that even lay people in a Dharma center can be considered Sangha. Alright? But traditionally you take refuge in 4 fully ordained monks or nuns. But if you don't have those, you can consider the regular students within the Dharma center to be the Sangha. And in fact, we all Sangha. You see, the word Sangha in Sanskrit literally means community. So in my language, when we use the word Sangha, it just means a community who have gathered for something virtuous, to do something virtuous. And that is the meaning of Sangha. Okay? Yeah. I hope that makes sense. Let me know. Okay. I think I have got time for a couple of more sections because these sections are quite small. So I'll continue. The other tactic, encouraging others in their practice. Before being spiritual, we should be ethical. Encourage people toward their gurus, even if their gurus are far away or they do not get to see their gurus often. When they come to our center because they have nowhere else to go, always respect their lineage, their practice and their gurus. Always make sure their faith in their guru is firm. Then when we teach them the Dharma, it will add to what they already have. This is us truly wanting them to become enlightened. For them to become enlightened, they must have clean, pure samaya with their guru. If we wish them to gain spiritual attainments, they will get spiritual attainments because we have helped them towards that. Is that not the job of a spiritual teacher or practitioner? To encourage others towards guru devotion, towards their gurus. If for any reason they cannot be with their guru or study and learn from him, they have their reasons. We do not have to dig and ask and say, well, aren't you glad you're with us now? Because that is damaging their faith, and we cannot do that. That is not spiritual practice. When anyone is a confirmed member with a center and with their guru, do not encourage them to go to other centers, to go to other gurus. Perhaps we are at a very high level and we can go to a few gurus because we have been requesting them for Dharma and our minds are stable. There are people like that who can have several gurus and there is no conflict because they know how to think about it. However, not all of us are at that level. We should encourage people towards what they have done, encourage their practice and not take their practice away. We should encourage them towards whatever practices they have received, help them and teach them if we know how. Our purpose is to bring people to enlightenment. Once they are enlightened, it does not matter what color hat, red, yellow or black, they wear. We do not bash other centers. If someone has committed and signed up with a center, we do not encourage them to leave or come to our center. That is totally contradictory to Dharma. We want peace in the center, so why would we create disharmony in the minds of people who come to the center looking for peace by bashing other lineages and practices? If we encourage people to our center and it becomes filled with people who have broken Samaya with their center and Guru, how will our center grow? How can a center filled with broken Samaya be able to advance? How can broken Samaya grow? Won't our center then have controversy? If we think advancing is about getting a bigger building and a lot of money, we have to realize that businessmen, swindlers and liars can do that. The growth of a center and being full of money does not validate our practice. Swindlers, liars and cheaters can make their empire grow. It is nothing impressive. Broken Samaya cannot grow. As a spiritual advisor and teacher, I'm telling you straight. We must never ever increase the members at our Dharma center at the cost of another center. It is very bad, it is unethical, it is un-Buddhist. We represent our Guru badly and we fill our center with people who have the broken Samaya who will never advance. They will be filled with confusion again and again and again. Before being spiritual, we should be ethical. If another Dharma center is starting out, we should rejoice in order to get over our bias, prejudices and wrong views. We should give donations to other centers, big or small. If we give donations to another center, it should be done via our own center. That creates unity. Let other Dharma centers grow. Whether they remind us, care about us, think that we have helped them or not, does not matter. We have to think ourselves what our purpose is to gain recognition or to make the Dharma grow. Other students, your center. We must never bring people to our center by hurting their past. If other students from other centers have some problems in their center, we should encourage them back gently to make peace and create harmony with their center. We should advise and help them. In the interim, they can use our center as something like a spiritual hospital to heal, but we should encourage them to go back to their center and not just happily say, "Welcome, you've come to the right place," because you've been in the wrong place. Because that is basically what we are telling them when we welcome them. If there is something going on in the center that is really irreparable and not helping their spiritual progress, then we let them rest in our center, observe and watch in such a way that never hurts them, their spiritual practice, their background, their guru or their lineage. If students from other centers come to my center, I would encourage them and talk to them about their guru, their lineage and their practice, and never take away their practice. Who am I to override their guru's practice? In time, I might become their second guru or their Dharma friend or teacher, but I should always encourage their existing practice. If they have completed their existing practice, I can replace it or recommend another practice. For example, their gurus may have recommended that they do 400,000 prostrations. If they have finished the practice but they are not able to reach their guru or he has passed away, then I could advise, "It is wonderful that you have finished what your guru said. Since you have finished your commitment, may I suggest you now do mandala offerings?" But I do not say, "Hey, your guru said to do prostrations. Stop that immediately and do mandala offerings instead." That is not a sign of spiritual teacher compassion, care or skillful means. Never hurt them. We must never bring people to our center by hurting their past. We cannot do that. If we make them mistrust their lineage, they will never gain attainments from the new lineage we give them. The karma that comes from disparaging one's guru cannot be overridden by just having another guru. Do not think that just because a person's guru is an ordinary monk or nun, another top-notch, high reincarnated guru who we introduce them to can erase their negative thoughts about what happened before. If high reincarnations and high-ranking gurus could erase all that, they would also be able to erase our negative karma and make us a Buddha overnight. If the Buddha cannot take away our broken samaya and broken karma, how can a guru do it? He cannot. In any case, why would introducing them to a high-ranking, famous, popular guru be better than the unknown guru? Okay, I think I'm going to leave it there for today. Next week we will talk about a subject which is very important to know about, and that is we will talk about sectarianism. Okay, and that we will do next week. Okay, so thank you very much. I hope everybody learned something a little new from today's reading. I don't see any more questions today, so I will end the session here. So thank you everybody for joining, and I'll see you next week on Spiritual Saturday Book Club.